Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com. And by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donotshout.com.
Hello and welcome inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city, and you're also live tonight for the next hour, and as we are each and every Thursday evening. We'll have some fun tonight, and I know that's a little bit odd these days, but we are going to have some fun, and we're going to, well, I'll explain it all to you a little later, but we will have some fun. Anyway, let's go to the phone. Speaking of fun, this guy's middle name is Fun. Let's go to the art and the art report.
Well, I've been called worse than that. If I were to tell you some of the names I've been called, you'd be standing in the gas station right now.
Fun's a compliment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first off, I think the anxiety over the situation that broke a week and a half ago, whatever it is, has calmed down somewhat. We went to the market this morning at around 8:30. Not only did they have all the product, the place wasn't busy.
Huh.
I think the people have settled down a bit, and they're understanding, and they're picking the right hours, one or the other. And having said that, I also cleaning up around here. You know, you've been around as long as we have. You got stuff that's it's junk. But having said that, I'm sitting down here in the cave, and I came across two miniature Bibles from Christ Church in Fitchburg, which when I grew up, that's where we went to church.
Really?
And one of them's 108 years old, the other's 109.
Come on.
From 1912 to 1913, and they belonged to my mother's sister, Dorothy Parker.
Wow.
And she went on to marry Ollie Parker, whom him and his partner, Shepard and Parker, machine rebuilders in Pittsburgh, the wire.
Yep.
Son, that was my uncle.
How cool.
Yeah.
Don't
And
throw
they're
those away.
No, they're signed and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anything changed in there?
Pardon me?
Has anything changed?
You know, I'm kicking myself right now. Before I called you, I opened one of them up out of curiosity, and the page that I came to, the print it's like it's brand new. It's amazing.
Really?
And it talked about the world's issues and everyone coming together for the betterment of the healing. And you could put it with the flu thing we're going through now.
Yeah.
If you wanted to read through it, you know.
See, they were ahead of.
I can't find the. I was talking to somebody else about this, and they wanted to look at it, but we never hooked up. And it's a cookbook, handwritten in the most beautiful handwriting you've ever seen from the early 1800s, mid 1800s, 18 something. I'm going to be bringing in once this thing is over. I know you're into this stuff.
Has it got banana bread in there?
You know, I've never really gone through the whole thing to see what's in there. But I'm sure there's all kinds of stuff that you'd be. I don't even know who it is. But it was in with the family stuff. In fact, remember the time I brought up that stuff about the Klan way back when? Mm-hmm. It was in with that stuff.
Oh.
So it's quite interesting. And I want to.
You want to say something, Ann?
No, it's cracking me up. I
She's
love
giving
it.
me a look. She's giving me a look
I
like
love
she
it.
wants to say something.
I love it.
So yeah, tell her about the clan pot.
Well, this is unbelievable. I had an aunt and an uncle, and they passed away. So they left the property to the family. The property was on Lake Whalum, and the property was a converted boathouse, made into a house to live into, but they took it off the water and moved it up on the land. And they built a little garage as well. Well, we hired someone, I'll get right to the chase, to tear down, they couldn't, Lunenburg wouldn't allow them to live in it, so they had to rebuild the whole thing. So we tore it down and built a new one. To the chase. I said, well, take the garage down too, and we'll build a new garage. So I'm at work. I get a phone call from the builder. He says, you better stop by. We get some stuff here. You've got to have it. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I showed up. And it was, now these two people were as pure as the driven snow. If I said boo, they'd sit me in the corner for saying a bad word. They belonged to the Ku Klux Klan, Leominster Division.
Imagine that. They had a local Ku Klux Klan division.
When was
They
this?
had membership cards. They had the rule book on the do's and don'ts. I brought it in to show
Yeah, I saw it.
show Dean.
Yeah, unbelievable. What year was that? All right,
30s.
30s, yeah. Imagine that.
No.
It's hard to comprehend.
I can't.
Because you always think of that as somewhere else, never like here.
Local, where we grew up.
So it must have been like an underground, very quiet and secretive sort of group, right?
I was afraid to bring it in at first and even mention it. And then I said, you know what? I know the guy loves it's nothing we could control.
Right.
You know, we weren't even born yet. And bang, there it was.
Yep.
And it was
Wow.
just crazy stuff. All old stuff.
Yep.
And they didn't throw anything out back then either.
That's the first time, Art, that I heard that there might be like a division in this area of the Ku Klux Klan. It's the first time when you brought that in for me to see it.
Yeah, it had the piece of property in Lunenburg. Well, I say Lunenburg. It was on Lake Whalum. Was I think the only piece of property that they paid taxes in one of the towns. I'm not sure if it was Leominster or what, but anyway, on the deed and on the paperwork, they were the land and the house. Part of it was in Lunenburg, Leominster, and Fitchburg.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite the situation.
FLNL.
Yeah.
Did they have to pay taxes to everybody?
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their piece
That's right.
of the action, right? You had to pay tax in 3 different places.
Yeah. It's just crazy stuff.
Yep.
That's about it. Everything else is good. We can get out of the house. We'll be better off. But
Yes.
we're going out tomorrow. They said it's supposed to warm up, and Rita's finally, now that she's got her eyesight back from the surgery, and the other surgery was 6 months ago. Doctors told her a year it's going to take.
Yeah.
But she's feeling much better. So tomorrow we're going out on the deck with planting soil, and she's going to start getting ready for her planting season.
Well, you're gonna wait, and you see what we got planned for you tonight.
Really?
Yes. We knew that you were going to be going out on the deck and doing your aerobics and then doing your plantings after. So.
Well, she's got like 7 or 8 flower gardens in beds. They're beautiful.
Well, you
People
wait and see.
stopped commented.
Wait and see what we got planned for you tonight.
Well, I got a classic. I'll let you go after this quick one. A couple of years ago, out front, we got these gorgeous, I don't know what they are, but they're beautiful big flowers. My neighbor calls up and says,
I like this
you looked out
story.
your window?
I remember this story.
Yeah, and I says, no, why? I looked out, and there's a lady. Husband's behind the wheel. He's got the gas pedal halfway to the throttle. I think it was their first robbery.
He stole
and
it.
they're cutting down our flowers.
Hey, paying it forward.
Yes. So I went out and I said, if you ask, we'll give them to you.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
jumps in the car, he lays rubber, and off they go.
You know what? I put it up on the bulletin somewhere, free flowers. I put down
Yeah.
Judy Drive, just pull up and take them.
I can't win.
Aw.
No, I didn't.
That was so nice of him. What a good guy he is.
And then about 4 years later, I put in four trees, and I got up the next morning, I had 3.
Well,
Somebody come and dug it up.
I was going to say maybe you couldn't count. Do you have something to drink?
I don't know. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Good
Oh,
man.
she's laughing now. This isn't fair. All fun and games till somebody steals one of my plants.
I know. Now you got to set up like security out there.
Oh, thank God they haven't touched the fig tree.
Oh, that's off limits.
They'd have Rita after them.
There you
We
go.
have the Greening the Gateway Cities program. If he needs more trees, we can plant them for him.
I know, but he lives in a high rent district.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're not in the zone.
You're in the zone, all right.
You
out
got to
there,
move
right?
to the zone.
He's in a high rent district down there.
No.
No,
The only place I'm going to move to is Foxwoods when they ever open it up again.
Is it still closed, huh?
I know. Yeah, I'm glad I went when I went.
Yeah,
I'm glad I hit when I hit.
I didn't notice any of
money.
it.
I'm glad
I don't gamble. I didn't notice any of it.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm not that
Yeah.
lucky. You wouldn't want
All
it.
right,
Folks. See you later.
Take care, buddy.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right. You're watching Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city. And it's Thursday night, and we're doing a live show. We're getting a little bit away from everything. We've had press conferences from, we've done a morning and an afternoon briefing. Mayor of Boston's done one. The governor, lieutenant governor has done one. The president just got off his. So we're going to keep it light tonight. And whereas kids are out of school, people are out of work, some, we figure that this is a really good time of the year as I look at my, my growing calendar to talk about some fun things that you can do as a family. And I know that, you know, at one time, very few people bought their plants. Everybody planted inside, and so you go to somebody's house, the porch was all set up, or they had old windows set up outside. And then life got busy, and people didn't have time for it. And so now Ann with a Y is here, and from Growing Places. Thank you for coming on the show tonight.
You're welcome. I took a little time out of my planting.
Oh, I can imagine. This was like 4 days in preparation for you.
Weeks.
Weeks?
Actually.
Full weeks?
Yeah.
Because you know you're coming
4 weeks.
on.
I did.
And you really had to over-prepare.
I did.
So this is what we're going to talk about tonight, is this subject. We're not going to stray off
No.
at all.
No.
And so when I last looked at my suggestion of the day, it said, start your cold plants.
Yes. So.
Let's start off with, what's a cold plant?
All right. So there's different types of crops, right? And so you need to know what kind of zone that you live in first. So our zone has actually gotten a little bit colder.
Really?
No, it's gotten a little
Are
warmer.
we still in
Surprise!
5? Are we in 5?
We are. I think we're 5.5 right now.
There's a 5.5.
Yeah, there is. So we've creeped up a little bit over the years, and we won't mention anything like climate change, but that's fine. So
I haven't, ever since they started this whole thing about not touching, my nose gets itchy. And I need like a nose scratcher or something. Do you have something around? So I want
just the cup. I think we'll be fine. It's
my
your
nose.
cup.
Is it appropriate to just give it a little tickle?
I think, yeah, I mean, I can give you the recipe card, but I can't take it back after you
drives me
touch
crazy.
it. Yeah, no, that's good.
Before, I know nose never, it feels like I stuck my nose in fiberglass. That's what it feels like.
It's because you're freaked out. No?
No, yeah, obviously I am, but I can't touch it because if I did, what would happen, Carl? Everybody would completely have meltdowns.
No, he's okay, everyone.
I've washed my
okay.
hands so many times. Look at him.
He's all right. I'm 6 feet away.
They're coming apart.
Yep, we're good.
Right?
We're good.
The flesh is coming off.
You're good.
Skin's coming off.
So cold weather crops.
Cold
all
weather
right.
crops. We're in zone 5.
So we're in zone 5, 5.5-ish, and cold weather crops are typically like your leafy greens is what you'd think
Kale,
of as your
cabbage.
Kale, cabbage, Swiss chard, lettuce,
Carrots?
spinach.
Carrots?
Carrots are root vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
You could. They are colder weather. Typically, though, people plant them in the fall because they take a little while to grow. And so then you want to harvest them
about
in the fall.
radishes?
Radishes are
They are?
definitely cold weather crops.
All right, so
Yeah.
there are things that you can plant pretty soon.
Peas. So we recommend at Growing Places, we recommend to do winter sowing. And that is actually kind of it's probably an old technique that's been revived, how everything is these days. So if you take a milk jug and you put some dirt in it, so you cut it in half, obviously, don't put
Right.
it in the little top of the milk jug.
I'm with you.
And then you plant your seeds in it, you leave it outside, cover it, and then when spring comes, the seeds will sprout because they're dormant. So
Kind of
the
like
cold-
grass seed. If you put grass seed
yeah,
down,
same thing.
right? Sometimes it
They're
comes
dormant.
back. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so when it gets hot enough, they'll start to sprout.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That's it? Just put some soil,
So
applying soil?
we have directions on our website. So if you go to growingplaces.org or go to our Facebook page, we have a few posts about it right now. So you can learn how to do winter sowing. And it's a really fun activity because...
Can you still do it right now?
Yeah, this is the time.
Okay.
So you want to do it now up until maybe the last week of April. After that, don't do it. You want to sow directly in the soil outside. But now's the time you want to do it.
So I assume the container warms up
It does.
from the heat,
It
right?
does.
I mean, from
It
the
does.
sun.
It does.
And do you water it at all?
So that...
Listen.
That...
S-O?
So, I don't know, because I'm a dietitian, and Janet is my master gardening guru. So you have to look on our website. I can't tell you.
So I assume it needs some moisture, or maybe not, right? Because when you
Well,
keep
I
things
don't know
dormant.
if when you sprout.
Well, maybe somebody will call in, because we have really like bright people that watch this show.
That would be great.
And especially gardeners, they like.
Maybe
you know,
Janet's watching from
yeah,
home right
Janet,
now.
if you're watching.
Or maybe we have Chaim over there. Maybe he can
Oh.
look at my phone at the Facebook page and see what we say of when to water it.
Carl, can I still share this on Facebook tonight?
Yes, if you go to our Facebook page,
All right.
it's right there.
Go ahead and say some knowledgeable things.
While you're doing this?
While I'm doing that.
Sure.
I won't look like I'm
sure.
just...
So gardening is a really fun activity to do with your family right now. But also, what about cooking? Should we talk about cooking a
Yeah,
little bit
absolutely.
today? All
Well,
right.
you're a nutritionist, so I knew that you would sneak that in somewhere along the line.
And we'll talk about gardening too, and we'll talk about the type of gardening that we do. So we do square foot gardening, but let's come back to that. Let's
Okay.
talk about what's in season right now. So I brought some goodies with me today, and we're losing microphones. Hold on.
Uh-oh. You better come back to me now. She's breaking equipment. Are you still hooked up, or
No,
you came loose? All right, we'll get you hooked back up.
broken.
Take that clip off, and you can put that.
All right, you can swing the camera over to me, and I'll
got it.
update everybody on a few things that are happening, and we won't have to watch her put her microphone
We're good.
back on.
I think
You all
we're
set?
good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all set now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we're going to do a little bit of veggie learning. So these are all local veggies that I brought with me today. So I just want to show you what local veggies look like versus the veggies that you see in the grocery store, because most people aren't used to them. So we have with us cabbage,
Red cabbage,
spaghetti squash,
spaghetti squash, all good stuff.
a carrot.
That is a carrot. My goodness.
What's this?
Did you pick that just before you came
The
here?
Pioneer Valley growers did.
That is crazy.
Right?
Did they really grow that?
Yeah, yeah.
You sure they didn't buy it like
No,
somewhere?
no, these are all held over. So what they do is the reason that these are so big, the reason you know if you're getting something local in like late winter is because typically it is really big like this. Because what they do is they leave it in the ground and they harden it off as long as they can. So that way they can store it over the winter. And so you typically get
The
some
root cellar.
really, yeah, exactly. Because root cellars are still used today. So sweet potato, this is a small sweet potato compared to the other ones
It's
that
a
we
meal.
have.
That's like the whole house can have a meal.
And yeah, you really, 2 of these and you could feed a family of 6. You'd be good.
What is it, parsnip or something?
Turnip.
A turnip. Isn't that the
Purple,
same thing?
purple turnips.
Oh.
No, parsnips different.
I don't like either one of
What are these?
them. What do you mean, what are these? What
Come
is
on.
it?
Little beets.
Oh, okay.
Beets. And then we have an apple. So these are your typical crops that you'll see right now, okay? I think what's really important to note about these crops is this is New England and this is what's seasonal. And we have come accustomed to just being able to get whatever we want right now.
That's
and I
true.
think it's really important that we teach our kids what is seasonal and what is local, because that's what our local farmers are doing and that's what they're growing, and they provide a ton to our local economy and support. And right now, our local farmers in particular are normally selling their fruits and vegetables to restaurants, but all the restaurants are closed. So we need to support them right now.
That's true. You know, I didn't think about that.
Right?
Yes.
Right. So what we're doing at Growing Places is we're able to purchase from our local producers, and we have a little mobile veggie wagon that we bring around, and we're able to sell these right to people's homes rather than everyone having to go out. So if you'd like the veggie wagon in your neighborhood,
No, it's coming
Give
next.
us a call.
Oh, it's coming April 1st.
it's coming
at
April
the Senior
1st.
Center,
It's going to come to the Senior Center
and
again.
then over at Mechanic and Laurel Street.
Yep, we're going to go there again. And so we are a nonprofit, so we charge really affordable prices just to cover the costs of the fruits and vegetables. And actually, we accept SNAP and the Healthy Incentive Program, which doubles your SNAP dollars at local retail access points. So let's talk about these a little bit. So first of all, I want everyone to know what they look like, right? That was the first piece, because in supermarkets right now, this is not maybe what you see a carrot look like or a sweet potato look like, because they're grown in parts of the country that can grow things like this right now.
And they really can't pick them when they taste the best either. In a lot of cases, they have to pick them when they're on the green side, right?
They do, and they're not as nutritional. Yeah, yeah. And also, they travel for miles and miles and miles, so the quality degrades a little bit too. And so the other thing about local is you want things grown in healthy soil, because just like us and we need food, plants need food too. So you want to make sure that your soil is really healthy, which is something else you can be doing right now, is composting, right?
You know what? You can't really get good soil anymore.
You can.
Yeah, but compost is the best.
Compost is the best. It's the gold standard.
Gold. I mean, it is. It looks so different. A lot of times you pick up a handful of loam, you know, that you buy somewhere that they sell to you, or it comes in the bags, and it like dries out. It's got just a weird look to it, like a cocoa look, rather than that, you know, that look that you get.
It's that dark, like gold soil, like you're talking about, right?
So people should begin to, if they don't compost, they should
compost.
begin to compost. And there are a lot of ways that you can compost that really isn't that all that complicated.
It's not that complicated. So for instance, at my house, what we do is we have a plastic bag in our sink, and when we're done with our food scraps, we just put it in there, and then we bring it outside and we compost, and then you add brown matter to it, which are like your leaves, and when you're, raking outside, to put that in the compost, and then you layer it, and that's how you get your compost.
Yeah, it's not hard at all.
It's really
just gotta move stuff around when you get it out there, right?
Yeah, and the other thing
look, it looks like you're downtown. It looks like you're downtown.
It looks like we're at the
selling farmers market.
Here
That's what it looks like.
That's perfect. So the other thing about composting that people don't think about is they think, they're just scraps from my food, but actually scraps from food cause a ton of waste. You don't realize it, and it actually causes what's called leakage. And so when you put your food in plastic bags, in garbage bags, and they're in the dump, and what happens is bad chemicals start leaching out because it mixes with the water, and it's really very contaminating to the soil. So if you don't do that, though, and you just put it directly back into the earth, you are creating a circular system.
Maybe we can actually do a show some night on composting.
We would love to.
Because people are very visual, right? You have to show me, if somebody shows me how to do something, I'll do that the exact same way forever.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
If you tell me sometimes,
forget it then.
I just need to see it, right? So maybe that's what we'll do, is we'll bring some people in, we'll bring one of our compost bins in, and
that'd be fun.
We can explain to people how to easily compost.
We could show how to make one really easily, because there's all different ways you can make the bins too. I think that's a great idea.
You can repurpose things to make those bins, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to buy anything.
No, you really don't.
And once you know how to do it, it's like just becomes natural.
It just becomes a behavior, right? Like everything else. So should we talk about what to do with these things? Because most people look at root vegetables, and first of all, they don't look really appetizing.
Is this going to be the dietitian part of what you do?
This is a little bit of a dietitian
I knew you were going to segue into this. I just wasn't sure how
it's going to go back and forth,
Okay.
just like growing places. A little nutrition, a little gardening, a little support.
Let's back up 1 second. So the rule of thumb, I know your rule of thumb is when I ask you questions like, should I eat this, is this bad for you? So your rule of thumb is?
What do I always say?
Half
he knows.
The dish is filled with whatever you want, and the other half is fruits and vegetables and healthy things, right?
Yeah.
Is that still true? Did you change that?
That I have not changed that, no.
So that's really basic too, right? I mean, that's not asking anybody to go into one of these diets that it's unlike, so you're going to do it for like 3 months and really eat healthy until you can fit into that dress for the wedding or whatever special event or a suit or whatever it is, and then you just revert right back to where you were.
That's right. I have to say, I got married I don't want to talk about it, but I can still fit in my wedding dress, and every single year I put on my wedding dress and make sure that it still fits me. And if it doesn't, then I make my plate more fruits and vegetables.
Rolling out the cabbage.
That's right. That's what I do. That's right.
All right. Well, then, so that's a simple explanation.
It's really simple.
Simple
but it's
explanation
easy
as
to do.
to how to eat healthy.
Because, so let's take the spaghetti squash.
Right.
Okay. So most people, this looks daunting, all right? So we look at our spaghetti squash, and it doesn't look appetizing, like I said. But all you have to do is, if you cut it in half, or you can even quarter it, and there's seeds in it, so you just have to take the seeds out. And what do you do with those seeds?
Put them in the compost bin.
You compost them, that's right. And then you can put it in the oven with a little olive oil, salt, and pepper. But instead of using a bread bowl, because everyone's afraid of carbs today, which, by the way, are not terrible, it's just that we eat too many of them, right? Too many, because they're too much available. And we eat too many of the white refined ones, right? We don't eat the good stuff.
Well, because they taste the best.
No, they don't, Dean. How can you say? You just need to prepare it right.
I'm kidding.
He's such a brat.
You're right.
So
I'm just kidding.
If you use this as your bread bowl, a spaghetti squash, so what I do is I stuff it. So I'll stuff it with rice.
What do you mean? You shouldn't eat bread?
Oh, no, you can eat bread.
Right.
Just not 20 slices of bread.
Right, I get that.
Just not the whole roll of bread.
Like Carl and I, we like to get like a whole loaf of Italian bread.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right out of the oven.
I know.
We slice in half, Carl, right? And then like 4 pounds of butter on it, swab it all over.
Right.
And then we just eat the whole entire, right, Carl? And then we sleep the afternoon.
So, well, the thing is, if we were farmers like we used to be, we could eat all that bread, but we are not farmers, so that's why we have to garden, right? We have to burn calories. So that's spaghetti squash.
So we cut that baby in half or quarters.
Yep, and you
put
can
it in the
stuff
oven.
it
And you can stuff with things.
Absolutely. I do like canned tomatoes, some Hamburg in there. I'll put melted cheddar cheese all on top of it. And then whatever kind of flavor profile you like, those are the spices you put on.
All right,
so if you
and then put it in the oven, right? And
you
just
425, you let it cook.
Olive oil.
Little olive oil,
The
salt
real
and pepper.
Stuff.
The good stuff.
All right, so
like
here's
Rachel
another question.
Ray says, right?
So how do people know when they go to the sort of cooking section? There's like 5 feet, 8 feet tall of olive oil and a whole display 4 feet wide. How do people know? Is it the price?
Extra virgin, yeah, and that's the other thing is the
It's
price.
expensive.
Yeah,
Extra virgin.
Yeah, it needs to be extra virgin olive oil, and it's the way it's pressed. You know how it'll say expeller pressed,
Right.
So those are the best olive oils. So you need to, and that is the thing about quality. So that's the other thing with food today is that we tend to eat too much of the things that aren't so good.
Right.
And the things that are expensive, that are healthy for us, we don't tend to eat a lot of. But if we ate a little bit more of the high
Healthy
quality,
stuff. Yes.
we wouldn't spend as much money
That's true.
because we wouldn't need as much of it.
Right, to get
'cause we'd be
full,
healthy.
to get that feeling that you're full.
Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, food is
So
really
that's
good
easy.
if you prepare it with.
That's easy. Can you also do that with like butternut squash, same kind of thing?
You can, yeah, you can. And you can also make soup bowls out of them. Like if you make a hearty stew.
Yeah. Acorn squash.
Yeah,
Sort of
they're
thing.
delicious like that. So then let's talk about turnips. All right, so I brought a couple recipes. I can hold them up and we can show you. So let's talk, we have whipped turnip, okay? So there's turnip. Perfect, whipped turnip. And so what you do with whipped turnip is you boil it, and then you take some butter. Use real butter, you guys. Do not use margarine. Margarine
Really?
is not good for you.
Are you sure?
I'm 100%
I know,
sure.
I'm agreeing with you, but
Yeah,
you see, that's where
100%.
advertising, all that marketing tells us that we should use, right? All those years ago, they told us get away from butter, told us get away from eggs. Now they're saying you should
Because our
eat
cholesterol was high, right?
Right.
And they were like, and it had cholesterol in it,
So
because
they
all
said-
animal products have cholesterol.
course.
So they said, get away from cholesterol. So we did. And then they realized that the fake fat that they were making, which
Was
is what
worse.
margarine is, it's fake fat essentially, was way worse for you.
How about
So
these things like, those things that look like butter? They try to make it look like it's not margarine, but it's.
Like what? Give me an example.
I don't know the name of them, but they make it look like they're not. It can't be butter, but they make it look like it's butter.
I'm sure it's not good for you. You know what
Right.
my rule is?
What?
Read the ingredients.
If it says butter.
If it says something that you can't pronounce the name of or you don't know what the hell it is,
Yeah.
don't eat it.
Okay.
Why would you ever eat something that you can't pronounce the name?
Because I don't read the labels because I'm hungry and I just
No,
want. I just want to eat, Carl.
Mayor Mazzarella.
I don't have time
no,
to start
no.
reading labels. I don't know what
No.
they mean anyway. They trick you.
Well, all right, let's talk about a label.
Let's
talk about a label.
Where was I the other day and I picked up a product that was supposed to be really healthy for you?
Okay.
Oh, it's one of these diets, not Atkins, but one of those kinds of things,
South
right?
Beach, yeah.
I don't know.
Something.
One of those diets.
Yeah.
So I'm reading the label. It's like 1,400 milligrams of salt in this one little candy bar kind
And
of
how
thing.
much are we
whatever.
supposed to have a day? It's 2,400, like it
Less
tables.
than that. I
Yeah.
think
No,
2,000
yeah,
or something.
it
Right?
depends. I
No,
mean,
but I'm just saying.
if you're fairly active, but that's
That's
more than
one
half. That's what I'm
thing.
saying. That's more than half for your day.
But
That's
they
not
make
okay.
people think they're eating something healthy.
Yeah,
And
I
then another day I stopped at one of those places that's supposed to sell all that healthy food.
Yeah.
And I picked up a wrap kind of thing, and I got in the car and I started to drive into Boston. And for some reason I looked at the ingredients, which I shouldn't have done. But it was like 2,000 milligrams of salt in this thing. So
Yeah.
you really have to watch it, right? You really do.
You do. And so the difference is, there's macronutrients and micronutrients. You want me to get like really technical?
No, but I think you summed it up by just saying, read the ingredients. If it has things that end with dyes and size, and it's probably no good for you. So they've added chemicals to it, so you're better off. At the end of the day, use butter.
Use butter
sparingly,
and do it
right?
sparingly,
Yeah.
right? So.
Okay.
And the reason that they say not a lot of fat is because fat has double the amount of calories per weight. So if I have a turnip or a potato or give me another food that's not a fat.
That's not a fat? I don't know. Potatoes and
Rice.
rice
Okay,
is a
so
carbo,
I've got
right?
rice
Yeah.
here, right? And I've got half a cup of rice. And then I've got the same thing right here, but it's half a cup of butter, right?
Right.
The difference is that the butter has double the amount of calories as the rice does, because fat has double the amount of calories as carbs and
So
protein.
rice is good for you.
So nothing is necessarily good, bad, evil, indifferent. It's that there are things that are better from the other. But if you go, I
That
think,
sounds like a commercial.
well, if we look
Is that
at
a
blue
Pinterest
zones,
commercial? Something
let's
you
talk
heard on
about blue
Pinterest?
zones. Have we ever
Well,
talked
wait a
about blue
minute,
zones?
because is rice good for you?
Rice, yeah, rice is good for you in
'Cause I like
moderation.
rice.
Yeah, I like rice too. How
And
much
rice and
rice do you
butter.
like? How much? What kind of rice do you like?
Every kind of rice I've ever tasted, I like.
You like? Okay,
Yes.
so that's good.
Yes.
So every rice starts off as a brown rice, right?
No.
Okay, so white rice used to be brown rice.
I don't think you're telling me the truth,
I
but go ahead.
I swear to
I'll
God.
take your word
so
for it.
all rice.
Why would you go through all that
is gro-
work
Exact-
of taking brown
You
rice
don't
to
know
make
the
it white?
story? Okay, so the story is that the Chinese or the Asian people, which rice is like their staple food, right, culturally, that the imperials, right, the rich people, they used to have the white rice because it was refined. And it was very expensive. It was a very expensive process, okay?
Okay.
And so all of the peasants had brown rice because it was not processed and really affordable.
Right.
And so the imperials had
It
no
was
idea.
grainy. It was more grainy, I bet you. So
And
they
was-
thought it
right,
wasn't.
Right. Okay. And so the imperials were actually eating a less healthy product than all of the common people were.
Our
So,
rice is fluffy and not stuffy,
That's right.
So it had a
They're
different
sticky.
and a different texture to it.
yeah.
So people thought kind of a status
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
They were eating more healthy rice.
They did
So
because
you're
it was
better off to
processed.
eat
Brown rice
brown
because it
rice.
has all of the nutrients on it still. So that brown part, it's the endosperm, the bran, that's what those pieces are called on it. That's where all the nutrients are. So
All
there's
right.
B
See,
vitamins.
Carl, did you learn something tonight?
Yeah.
How do they make the rice white? Do they bleach it?
No, they literally take
Strip
the
it?
husk. It's like a husk on it, and they process it. They take it off the rice. But those little. Let's talk about bleaching. So those little carrots you see, like the baby carrots. Okay, so those carrots used to be a carrot like this,
Every one of them's perfect.
and they go through a machine and they cut them, and then they put like a chlorine solution on them to keep them that color. That's not good for you, people.
Right.
I
And what
want
about
you
the
to
cut
use
up
regular
apples you
carrots.
buy in the store? Same thing?
Well, they have to put lemon juice on, but
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of times it's like it's a different. It's not exactly lemon juice, but it's some type of like citric acid,
Right.
and it prevents enzymatic
Like
browning.
from turning brown, right?
Yeah. So that's what they do with a lot of things to prevent enzymatic browning. You don't want that because then it doesn't look nice, but it still tastes good. It's just like how bananas turn brown,
Right.
and they're usually still good, but it just the sugar starts to get produced on it.
So how do you make parsnips or catnip or whatever it is that you
Our
get over there?
catnip? Okay,
How do you-
that's a tincture.
How do you get that to
That's
taste
a
good?
tincture. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
So we did a whipped one, right? So the whipped one, I like this recipe because they're all simple, first of all these recipes that I brought. So if you boil these are turnips, not parsnips. Let's just keep this clear so we don't confuse everybody. And it's not catnip. What we do is we boil it, and then we mash it just like we would potatoes.
Oh, okay.
And then if you put a little bit of brown sugar, then our butter that we were talking about, a little bit of salt and pepper, they're delicious. I like to also boil a carrot with it and mash that with it too. And then I have a carrot turnip mash.
Wow.
And it's super good
Look at
for
you.
Amazing, right? Or the other thing I like to do with root vegetables is I like to chop them up. So they're like finger size, so you can just eat them with your hands if you want to. So you can do that with beets. For these, I'd cut them in half maybe. The carrot, it's gonna be hard to cut, but I'm still gonna cut it. The
Is
sweet
really
potato,
that a carrot from last year?
this is really a carrot that
that's
we just
cool.
got.
Wow.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
This will feed a family, right? I forget how many carrot sticks did we get out of this. We got
whole schoolful.
seriously, it would have fed the lunch at school. And then I chopped these up, and so then I just put a little bit of olive oil on everything, a little salt and pepper, and then if you want, again, different spices, so you could put some thyme on it, you could put some rosemary on it, sage, whatever you feel like that day, however your mood is, and if you roast it in the oven at 425, and you pull it out after about an hour, give it an hour, they're like candy.
Really?
They're amazing. Your kids will love them. So the other thing you can do for kiddos is cut them like fries, right? To make them look like fries. So the reason that when you deep fry things that it's not good is because it sucks up all the fat, right? So it becomes really calorie dense. But if you just drizzle some olive oil and crisp them up that way in the oven, they're still really, really good.
Okay. All of a sudden, I'm craving acorn squash.
No, you're craving turnips.
Parsnips, or
Yeah,
whatever they
your
call them. I
catnip.
never liked them. I don't know why. Maybe if they're boiled that way,
I
and then
think
you
you would
crush them
like
up.
them. I
Yeah.
think you would like them.
All
I
right.
just don't think that they were, because they're a little bitter if you don't do them
But
properly.
when I was a kid, I didn't like beets, but I like beets now.
Yeah, how do you like them?
I don't know, just beets, you know?
Do you roast them?
I don't go through any of that. I barely got time
Oh,
to drink this water, let alone start roasting beets.
So that's what we've heard from a lot of people, actually. That's a good point. So we've heard that people today, they don't have time to
Right.
cook anymore. I know we're home right now, but when things are back, on schedule, that everyone's busy. They're working, they're bringing their kids around to sports, they're bringing them to after-school activities. And so people want things that are easy to prepare. So we're creating meal kits of pre-prepped produce with recipes that we're going to have available for the community, and we'll have them at the farmers market and
cool.
things. Yeah.
What's in them?
So they're going to be seasonal. So let's say it is spring,
Yes.
right? So in spring, we would do some lettuce, right? So
Radishes.
some radishes, some pea pods. What else do we have?
Peas
Some-
pods.
Some peas.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you get.
Right?
Celery, not
Kale.
not
So
yet.
a bunch
Kale
of leafy
is
greens.
good.
You could do some
Yep.
bok choy, some Swiss chard, and then when we provide it, it will have recipes with it, and it will be partially prepped. So, for instance, the lettuce will be chopped already, and also we might have some olive oil on the side that it's just easy to grab it all together, and then you have a little meal package that you can take with you. Because we've heard from people that they don't have time to think about it all and put it together. And they want to do this, but they're just not quite sure how.
Maybe someday at one of the markets you can get not a fry later, but get something out there you can show people how to.
We
you know?
absolutely
Yeah,
can.
That's kind of fun when you see it getting made, and it helps people to understand. Okay, that's why I think a lot of people walk by things at the stores. They don't know how to prepare it
They
in
They
a healthy
don't.
way, right?
They don't.
It's
I mean,
just
I
as
went to
easy to get
school
that
for a
bag
long
of fries
time.
like that and throw them in the oven
It
and then
is.
dump ketchup on it and salt. And,
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it really is.
Yeah, and this is honestly, unless you learn about this, unless you grew up with it and just learn from your grandparents or your mom and dad or whoever you grew up with, it's kind of intimidating.
Right.
I think this is intimidating.
Yeah.
If I didn't go to school for 6 years to learn about nutrition,
6 years you went?
6 years,
And I could have told you just cut that in half, put some good olive oil on it, a little bit of, and you would have graduated.
and then you're
The
done.
beginning-
Because
no,
that's all
I
I know. That's all I know.
And
That's it.
nutrition is hard today. I mean, it is hard because people want to sell their products, so they market them so it looks like it's a really healthy product, right?
does, it
like
does.
I was reading Mother Earth News
Oh, yeah.
one day, right?
Yeah.
And they advertised Crisco, and I thought, Crisco's not good for you, but
not.
it actually might be better for you than some of the things that have all that other additive. You know what I'm saying? Like you were just saying about butter versus margarine.
yeah.
So today you really have to like understand what's in the product, right? I mean, they say one serving, of ice cream is
Half a
120
cup.
calories. It's not even a half a cup. It's like
No, it's a half cup.
spoonful.
It is not.
Yeah,
When
it
you
is.
stop it, it's
So,
just a
no,
half
I'm
a
just
cup.
saying, it's confusing for people, and I
is.
think everybody wants to eat healthy.
People do want to eat
Yeah,
healthy.
they do. They struggle
But we
to eat healthy.
overcomplicate things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We really overcomplicate things. And so to eat healthy, I think it is important, though, to know how to prepare food. And I think it's important to know how to put things together properly. And if people want information, and it's out there, but I mean, at Growing Places, we're happy to point people in the right direction of how to go about doing that and how to shop seasonally, and also how to, I think a lot of people, when farmers market season comes around, just thinks of tomatoes, and they think of, I'm trying to think of some other, summer squash
Strawberries and
corn,
apples and
right,
corn.
and strawberries.
Right.
But there's so many other fruits and vegetables that are so healthy that our farmers grow.
When I used to work in the supermarket as a kid, like every kid in the world, right? And when tofu first came out,
Yeah.
there was a place called Nasoya Tofu. It was actually right over the line in Lancaster, I think, or maybe Leominster. But anyway, imagine trying to sell tofu in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
People like,
What?
is that a sponge? Doesn't that belong in
Yeah.
the cleaning out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they had to get out there and show people and
Yeah.
demonstrate to people, have them taste it and show them how to cook it. And now tofu's used in just about everything, right?
Yeah, well, tofu is it gives things a nice mouthfeel, and it's a good thickening agent, and it's very few calories. So when I used to work in a hospital and we used to do cooking demos for diabetic patients, a lot of times people want that like creamy mouthfeel, right? So like if you eat putting a chocolate pudding pie, let's say, right? You can actually make a tofu chocolate pudding pie.
No way.
It's delicious. I'm not kidding you. We used
Do you
to
believe that, Carl?
We used to trick people I'm not kidding. Like we used to
All right.
trick people all the time, and then we'd give them the recipe, like we'd show them, because we let them eat it first. That's the key, right? Let someone try it first and then tell them what's in it. Because if I had said to them, this is your tofu chocolate pie, I don't think they would have ever even tried it. But if I say, try this pie, it's really good for you. Oh, okay, we'll try it.
All right. Because I do think people want to eat healthy. They're just confused and don't know how to do it. And right? I mean, so
Yeah.
we're all in agreement on, and that's why I like to show people more often to get more of a show and tell kind of thing.
There's
so
a
people
tool,
can
though.
actually see it.
There are tools you can use. So, and it's really interesting. Janet, who's our urban master gardener, and we teach at Monty Tech every semester. And we do a gardening for health class. And so in our class, we do gardening, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But also we add the health component to it, right? And so what I go through and I talk about macronutrients and micronutrients and how nutrition is made. And people don't realize how complicated it is, but you can keep it really simple, like I'm saying. But there are tools that we share with people. So the USDA has a calculator that you can go on, and you can put in your height, your weight, and your physical activity level, and it will tell you about how many calories that you should be having a day. The thing, though, that's complicated that they're finding out with research is that it's not just calories. It's actually the variety of food that you eat that really keeps you healthy. So people need to eat a wide variety of things, because we don't even know all the things that are good for us in food yet, to be
of
honest.
course.
So phytochemicals, antioxidants, those things that help prevent aging, right? All those great food properties they've just found out about. We're learning every single day. So really, the recommendations now are eat a variety of things.
Were you at that sustainability thing event that they had at Devon's? Did you go to that?
No.
So I was one of the speakers, and I said, I got up there and
bummed
I
I didn't
said, if you just live like my grandfather did, you're all set.
Yeah,
like our grandparents lived.
Absolutely.
If you just live like they did,
Yeah.
we're all set. Go home,
We are.
everybody.
We
That's
are.
it.
No, we
Talk
are.
to your parents, find out how they lived, their
Yeah.
grandparents, and we're all set. We can all go home.
Yeah, and that's why intergenerational activities are so important too. I think our older adults have so many good recommendations, and you learn through history, right? Why do they teach history in school? Because we're supposed to learn from it, but
'Cause
we
you can't
never
have
talk
gym
to our
all day.
neighbor. Well, that's true too. And art.
Can't have shop,
and
right?
music.
Carl? And film. Carl
Right.
was in all those film classes when he was in school. Did you take shop at all?
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
I love shop.
What did you take?
I took shop. It was
Like
super
what?
fun. We still had home ec though when I was in school. which was great. See, they don't have home ec anymore, which is another issue. So people don't know how to cook. But I remember I made a little metal box in shop one time. That was super fun. I probably still, or my parents still have it. I made something with wood. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It's hands-on. Somebody's showing you how to do something, right?
And I still use it today, though, because we make our gardens. We use square-foot raised bed gardens. So
do kids eat healthy?
Do kids eat healthy?
Do your kids eat healthy?
Do my kids? So we certainly have Oreos in our cupboard. I'm not going to lie to you. But my kids eat healthier.
Double stuffed Oreos?
No, mint. They like mint Oreos.
Mint?
They like the mint Oreos. But they do eat healthy because we make sure that they get enough fruits and vegetables, and they eat probably more whole foods than anything else. So that's the other thing that I always share.
So you don't find your kids' beets like stashed under the carpet or something?
No, I watch them.
They give them to the dog? Just so they could get to the stuffed Oreos?
No, we do have a little trick. We have 2 dogs, and the dogs do, they get the meat. So, I mean, I'm throwing it over my kids' heads sometimes to get my dogs.
But it starts very early for kids, right? It really starts training. My theory used to always be, as soon as you give kids sugar, and I don't know if you did this with your kids, but we did it.
Yeah.
And if they had hiccups or anything, you'd give them a little sugar on their palate, and it would stop them from hiccuping or something. I don't know. But maybe that wasn't even it.
Yeah.
But as soon as they get that first dose of sugar, it's over. They don't want to eat like all the stuff in those little cans, the baby bottles there with all that, ground up stuff in it, and they will not eat it anymore.
My kids skip
it's
that.
Over.
My kids.
Over.
So I think the best thing to do, again, even though that's just whatever it says it is, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, it's still canned and processed. Like, I think making your own food out of, like, if you're eating dinner, right? And so you're sitting down, you have a baby, they're just starting to eat. You just give them little pieces of your food. We make things so overcomplicated.
No, but I'm just saying, once you give them sugar, it's all over. I don't care what else you're eating. They don't want to eat anything after that.
So sugar is addictive,
right?
Absolutely. So there's something in our brain.
So if you said, okay, sugar here, and then here's something else. After that point, every kid's going to the sugar pile,
But the thing with sugar is, so there's calories, right, which are important, but sugar really is not good for your gut health, because your gut actually,
you don't have to tell me that.
It's all about your immune system.
Of course.
Right? So you have to have a healthy gut. And a lot of immune issues come because you don't have a healthy gut.
Right.
And the best way to have a healthy gut is prebiotics and probiotics.
Do you know what?
What are those?
In Leominster, we make, there's a company that makes yogurt with the most amount of probiotics of any yogurt.
Who is it? We should get them at the farmer's market.
Yeah. Oh. They're, I don't know what name they go under, but they're right over by Hamilton Street behind,
I'll have to check them out.
They're in the building like right aside of Ocean State Job Lot. They're right in the back there. I know the name of it. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
But probiotics, and you know what's weird is, I forget why, but doctor said, gave me some medication that takes of something. I don't know what it was. I had a tooth pulled or whatever. Or I forget what it was. And they said, and this is the first time it's happened, but I hear it happening a lot. And they said, you should take probiotics along with the medication, and because you won't have belly problems. And it works. It
does work. And so what they don't tell you, though, because doctors only take one nutrition class usually in school, so they really don't know that much about it, although...
Are there different probiotics?
So there's prebiotics.
Prebiotics.
So prebiotics are what's in the fruits and vegetables. So there's something called inulin, and inulin is a type of fiber, and so inulin is really high in certain types of fruits and vegetables in particular, so asparagus is really high in inulin, garlic, onions are pretty high, but those are prebiotics. And so what happens are the probiotics are actually good bacteria. So those are like good little bacteria living in your gut, and you have like thousands and thousands and thousands. But if they don't have good food, which are what the prebiotics give it, they die. So you have to have prebiotics with probiotics, and most people have no idea that has to come together.
All right, let me ask you this question, right? And we're 20 past the hour here at Inside Leominster, and we're talking about nutrition and eating healthy and starting your plants, because this is the time of year. Right now is when you start your... What's that?
This is.
Yeah, this is the perfect time to get those plants started, and you'll have fun, and you get some little cups. They have all the planting things, but you don't even have to buy a lot of these stuff. You just save your cups and put a little potting soil in it. And you can start your plants, and you'll have fun. And something the kids can have fun with, and water it, and next you take it and transplant it outside. But that's what we're talking about. So as is every show, we're all over the place, and that's my fault. And then we add you to the equation, and then we're like in big trouble. But Sometimes when I eat healthy, the foods and fruits and things that are healthy just don't agree with me. Why is that?
So, well,
Is that a
everybody's different.
Prebiotic kind of thing?
But everybody's different, and that could absolutely be it. A lot of times, if our body isn't used to that, all of a sudden we have to break it down, and a lot of fiber
So
is
start
kind of a shock.
introducing yourself
Yes.
to those foods.
So yes, baby steps to the bus, slow but steady.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Should we talk about gardening again?
Whatever you want. I mean,
All right.
you're the one that prepared. I just kind
You
of
ready?
waddled in here.
I know.
So
All right,
I'm leaving it up to you.
Okay, so let's talk about gardening again
Yes.
because we only have a few minutes left.
Yes.
So, all right. So, and because it reminded me of it when you were talking about your kids and how to go about doing it. So we have a recipe at Growing Places for gardening. So you have to have 4 ingredients. You have to have sun. You have to have land.
Somebody
have to
just
have-
reminded me it's called Delicious, is the name of the yogurt.
Oh, is that the yogurt?
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They sell it everywhere.
No way. All right, cool. We'll find
It's
it.
a recipe from India.
That's amazing. Yeah, yogurt's super good for you. That's a probiotic.
But even that
not
gets,
a prebiotic.
not to sort of run off the rail
no,
here,
it's okay.
but there's like 400 feet of yogurts in the store.
There are.
And they're not all the same. So see, now you get into the whole thing where now I got to stop and like start reading labels and decide which one's best.
Live
and-
active cultures. If it doesn't say that on it,
Live active culture.
cultures. If it's not like living, the probiotics have to be living. Remember I said they're like living bacteria?
right.
They have to be living.
Okay.
If they're not living, it's pointless.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure, again, that price you're going to be able to tell. It doesn't mean you always have to get the most expensive thing, but there's a reason things are more expensive than other things.
Will it taste like anything though, or will it taste
No,
like?
you'll never know. You'll
Really?
never know. Nope. If
It can taste like strawberry. They'll have strawberries
yes,
in it or something.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You'll still have your nice flavor.
All right.
All right, so planting. So you need to have soil, sunlight, a water source, and you have to have people who want to do it. Because if people don't want to do it,
Right.
it doesn't
The seeds
just
will
care
dry
for itself.
up,
It
and
will, and
yeah.
it'll be sad, and we want gardens to be successful. So with gardening,
It's like getting a dog or a pet, right? Everybody wants them, but then
That's
it ends
exact-
up being mom.
Yes, and
It's
we
2
have-
o'clock in the morning running
Yes.
down the street with the pet, right? With
That's
the dog.
exactly what it is. That's what we always say. We say it's, first year, everyone's super excited. It's
Yeah.
like they just got the puppy. And then the second year, they're like, the toddler puppy who they're like, yeah, the teenager, they're like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice. We
Yeah.
see you once a week.
Yeah.
And then after that, abandoned.
Right.
So you need to care about your garden,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so, but it can save a lot of money. But we use square foot gardening at Growing Places.
Okay.
All right.
So
the
you get the
reason-
most amount of.
we do. So we get
Okay.
a yield, and to make it simple, because plants need a certain amount of space depending on what type of plant it is. So if you're a tomato, which Janet calls divas, you need more space because when you start it, it's only this big. But when you grow it, you know how big it gets, right?
Right. Like a
So-
pumpkin or a squash.
Exactly. They need more space, right? And so you can trellis some things too.
Aha.
But what you do is we use 4x8 plots because that way you can still reach in. So that's about accessibility. So we want to be able to reach in and touch things. We don't want to be trudging through everything. We want to make it easy and we want to make it safe.
So 4x8, you can pretty much reach anything
Yeah.
from any point, right?
Yeah. So, and then what we do is every foot we take string, and then we go the other way and take string. So you make
A grid.
a grid
Yeah.
of space,
Right.
right? 32 feet, right? And so then you're able to plant all your fruits and vegetables.
Aha. And you could grow a lot
You
in-
can grow a ton because you can get 3 different seasons in New England, right? So if you start now, like I said, and we do some winter sowing, right? And we can almost start to go out there and start planting your leafy greens, right, in the garden itself.
Another week or
Then-
2, right? You could plant directly peas. You can
Yeah.
plant, right? And
Yeah.
there's nothing better than peas.
No, as long as you can get
Nothing.
in there. Oh my
Right.
God, they're delicious.
There's
And
nothing
trellis
better than
them,
peas.
right? So
Yep.
you can get a lot of space and maximize it. But if you start to plant those things, then they'll come along, right? And you'll get a few harvests. Maybe your lettuce will grow back a little bit.
Yep.
You'll get a few. And then it's time to plant your hot weather crops,
Right.
right? So those are like your tomatoes and your cucumbers.
Peppers love the heat.
And your peppers,
Love the
right?
heat.
So those are all your hot weather crops. And then it gets chilly again, so you plant your cool weather crops all over again.
Right.
And so that's kind of how it works. But with what I would say right now, if you're spitting, sorry, don't spit.
That's it.
Sorry, we're
Close
done.
the place down.
It's done. But if you're a family, sorry, and you are trying to think about your garden, the best thing to do, we say, is plan it. So sit down and talk about what do you like to eat together, and what do you want to cook together, and how do you want to cook things together.
So this is perfect now because people are going to be in their house. They're going to be looking for things to do.
Yeah.
This is like perfect. So you can get all this information from your website.
We
you
have
get
a
it
growing guide
right. So
for free.
It's right there.
It is. So you can just go there and you can download our growing guide, and you can also email us and ask us questions. You can ask me the nutrition questions, and I can talk your ear off about all different types of food and why it's good for you and what you should do. And Janet can tell you all about gardening.
The gardening. So this, so April 1st is coming quick. I can't believe it's going to be April 1st.
I know.
But anyway, April 1st.
April 1st.
Will be, you'll be at the Senior Center from what time to what time?
We will be there from, I think we changed it.
Did you?
I
I know in the afternoon it's like 3:30 or something.
Yeah, it's I think 11 to 12.
All right. We'll make sure I post it on Facebook.
It's 11 to 12 or 12:30.
All right. And then you're going to move your little wagon down to the
Then we're going to move our little wagon
Mechanic
to
Street
make,
Park there.
Yep. And Laurel, Mechanic and Laurel.
That's cool because I didn't realize, and I didn't think about the impact that it had with so many of the local farmers. And there are a lot of farmers that invested heavily in growing like lettuce and leaf-grown products through the winter so they could furnish, right? So and they don't have any place to sell it anymore, right?
No, so we're purchasing it and then we're selling it for them.
Good.
And then that way people can use their SNAP and their HIP benefits too.
Right, that's awesome. So everyone, stop down either to the Senior Center and check my Facebook page, or you can call City Hall, look at our website, or Growing Places, their website, and you can find out exactly where they're going to be and when, and come out and support these farmers. The other part of this is not only you're getting something healthy at a reasonable price, but help support these farmers because they've been impacted by the fact that restaurants have closed. That was their source, right?
This is their main income, absolutely. And so they really need our community. So if we're not going out to eat, just think of it, you're redistributing it another way, right? You're just purchasing it directly and making it at home yourself. That's all.
Are we going out of time, Carl?
Yes, we are. You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Thank you a million for coming on. We'll get you back on. We'll get some composting. Anyway, thank you for watching tonight. That was fun. Thank you, everybody here at LTV. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com, and by Medical Arts Hearing Instruments, 52 West Street in Leominster, locally and authentically providing better hearing and quality of life since 1978. www.donot shout.com.